Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Messaging, Digital Engagement, and Media Training for the No Kings mobilization on October 18th. We're going to give it just a minute here for folks to join this webinar. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Messaging, Digital Engagement, and Media Training webinar for No Kings on October 18th. Who's excited? Who's ready? Who is ready to go? We're going to be talking today about the messaging for No Kings, every which way we can be amplifying this across your digital and social media platforms, as well as how to talk to media in this moment and tell your individual story. So we're just going to give it one more minute for folks to get in and join. We have over 1,000 attendees so far. We are expecting thousands of people to join this webinar, so we're just going to give it one more minute. Welcome, everyone. My name is Unic. I am here to help us guide through the messaging, digital engagement, and media training for the No Kings mobilization on October 18th. If you are here today, it means you are actively participating in these actions on October 18th to say no to the authoritarian power grabs by the Trump administration. And I just want to go through a few items before welcoming our first speaker. We are actively recording. We are actively recording this webinar for folks who weren't able to join to be able to watch it moving forward. Please we have a Q&A function. Please use that function and upvote the questions you have. If you see a question you want answered, we anticipate a lot of questions tonight and we're going to try to get to as many as possible, but please use that function and the Q&A function in this Zoom chat. There will be, if you don't catch the materials in the chat, we will do a follow-up email. That is one of our #1 inquiries we get every time we do these webinars. We will make sure you get all of the materials we shared today that we talk through, from messaging to digital and social media engagement, as well as how to talk to media and what materials you need to engage reporters. So again, I just want to reemphasize, we are recording this webinar. It will be available after the fact. Please use that Q&A function and upvote the questions you have, as well as look out for a follow-up email from us with all of the materials we talk about and share this evening. I next want to bring up our first speaker. Her name is Sarah. She's from Voices of Florida, as well as the national coordinator for 5051, to just ground us in this moment and talk about what we're all going to be doing on October 18th. Sarah?
Thank you so much, Unic. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Sarah. I am National Coordinator with 5051. I'm also the Executive Director of Voices of Florida. I've been an activist for over a decade, so I'm really happy to be in this space with you guys right now. I just want to say thank you for joining us for our messaging, digital engagement, and media training. We're deeply grateful that you've not only stepped up to host a No Kinks event, but that you're also leaning into the power of story, your story, our story, and the story of this entire movement, right? This training is crafted for you as No Kinks event host. You've been doing the hard work of planning, organizing, and building community, and now it's time to make sure the world hears about it. Today, we'll show you how to frame your local events for both traditional reporters and media outlets, and how to highlight your social media feeds, because your story isn't just yours. It's a part of a collective history that we're writing together. And I want to be clear, oral history is power. Our ancestors knew it, movements before us knew it, and now it's our turn. On October 18th, we're not just gathering and protesting, we're etching a moment in history. We are the linchpin in democracy right now. And your story, and everyone else's story that is standing beside you when we are outside that day, will echo beyond this day, carried from generation to generation. I want to be really real with you right now. As someone that is from Florida, that has been fighting against fascism, I'm going to name it because that's what it is. I'm upset. I'm upset watching what happened in Florida ripple across the country. I'm pissed and I'm hurt. And I'm watching this administration double down on cruelty, and it shakes me. And maybe you felt that too. The creeping hopelessness, the whispers of why bother. But something my family used to always tell me, and something I've heard since I was a little kid, there's a difference between hopelessness and helplessness. Hopelessness is a feeling, and I'm going to tell you, helplessness is a lie. Feeling hopeless does not mean we are helpless. Our brains like to trick us into believing otherwise. But in truth, we always have options. We always have power. And No Kings is and will be proof. The movement is peaceful, unapologetic, and fueled by hope. Million of us are already moving. On October 18th, millions will rise to say with one voice, America does not bow to kings and we do not bow to dictators. You've already learned how to host safe events, and I hope you continue to go to those trainings. Now it's time to make sure your story doesn't just happen, it travels through media, through social, and through every channel we can reach. Because when we bring our stories together, we don't just resist, we transform. We create a country where freedom, safety, and equality aren't just slogans, they are lived realities. The next generation, we owe the next generation a place where they can grow up and they can see equity and equality. And that may be a heavy burden for us to carry, but is one that I have faith that we will carry. I have faith with the people that are coming on these Zooms. I have faith with the people that are on these grounds or that are going to be on the ground on October 18th. I have faith in you just as much as you should have faith in me. And I cannot wait to see what we do on October 18th. With that being said, I'm going to jump right to it. Today's training is going to be led by the powerhouse team from EO and CO, Unic, January, and Kate. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much for your leadership in this moment as we head into the October 18th Actions for No Kings. Again, myself, Jan, and Kate will be leading you today in this training around messaging, around media engagement, and digital and social media sharing and engagement as well. I want to get right into it in telling the No Kings story. You know, if you were around for the last Snow Kings, you might remember that a certain president was trying to celebrate his birthday with a military parade. What has transpired since, and the story we told on June 14th, was that millions of people agreed with us that the authoritarian power grabs of this administration had gone beyond too far. And we want to make sure that on October 18th, we are telling our personal stories in this moment why we are coming together on October 18th. We need to understand this moment. We need to share this moment and be unabashedly unfearful to sharing our own stories. As we're looking forward into the messaging, you might see this in a lot of the materials you're receiving. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. As the president escalates his authoritarian power grab, the No Kings nonviolent movement continues to rise stronger. And you might have seen at a previous slide, this is a peaceful movement. We're peacefully protesting on October 18th, and we want to make sure that message transcends across everything we're communicating. We are united once again. We came together on June 14th. We will come together on October 18th to say America has no kings, and the power belongs to the people. That is a very powerful statement that we will all collectively say, millions of us will say on October 18th. There's a lot of messaging that we have for this movement. There's a lot of messaging that we have for this protest. But I think if you take nothing else away from the materials you will receive, from the messaging guidance you'll receive, I want to make sure it's this. No Kings is a peaceful movement of millions of Americans from all walks of life rising up to make it clear we don't do dictators or kings in America. Never have, never will. And when you think about this sentiment, when you think about this message you want to transcend in your community, locally, what does that mean for you? Think about the personal story you are trying to tell in this moment. Think about the personal story you have. What brought you here? And Kate's going to walk through that a little bit later. What brought you to this moment? And make sure that's what you're uplifting. That's the most important thing. We're organizing and taking to action to not only defend each other, but our broader communities of folks we might not even know. We know we demand dignity in this moment, and we know we demand respect. Our movement is absolutely growing. 5 million people turned out on June 14th. We anticipate even more to turn out on October 18th because we know folks heard us in the street, heard us as we came together in over 2,000 locations across the country, heard us as we waved our signs, as we rallied, as we cheered, as we came together and made our voices heard, because that power belongs to the people. We want to make sure as we're communicating out, as we are telling our story, as we are delivering this message, not only to folks we know, but to folks we've never met before, they are in agreement and they're understanding this is the moment we are coming together for. I can't stress enough. that when we talk about every time the Trump administration chips away at our freedoms, our movement grows. Proof that people will not back down. I am sure you have your own personal story. When you are thinking about everything that's happened over the last few months since June 14th, everything that's happened since January, you probably have your own personal story of folks realizing, I need to join a protest locally. I need to come with my friends to speak out because I got to do something. That is the story we are collectively telling on October 18th. Two more points here. We unabashedly reject authoritarian rule. When we see immigrants being abducted off our streets, when we see troops being deployed into our neighborhoods, when we see them making attempts to silence voters, when we see them defying the courts, we reject that authoritarian rules. That is part of the reason we are coming together on October 18th. That is part of the story we're trying to tell. In addition to that, we are also saying we are here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We will continue to take to the streets to make sure folks see our dissent. We will continue to grow, we will continue to build, and we will continue to reject these attacks on our communities. These are not just words on a piece of paper. This is how I myself feels. I know this is how many on this Zoom feel as well. This is how and why we are coming together on No King's Day, on the second No King's Day on October 18th. I want to pass it over to Jan to talk a little bit about how we want to tell this story, engaging through digital and social media, how we want to tell this movement story, and what we are trying to define through the storytelling on October 18th through digital and social media channels.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jan. Thank you all so much for being here for this training. I just want to share with you the reason I'm part of this movement is because I truly believe in democracy and that we, the people, that's where the power belongs. I know many of you, like me, we're part of this movement because we know America has no kings. And together, we're going to make that clear not only to this president, but to the world. Our country does not belong to rulers or billionaires. It belongs to us. So I'm really excited to dive in about digital engagement surrounding the No Kings movement and our next really big national day of action on October 18th. This is our movement. This is our story to tell. So that's what we get to do. And I'm really excited to be doing that with all of you. Just before we get into everything, let's talk a little bit about what to expect leading up to the event. As event host, you all are really caring a lot. So we want to make sure that we have a lot of communication with you, that you're getting materials and tools in a timely manner, and also that, you all are prepared for things. So leading up to the event, I know you all received some of this already as you signed up to host your events, but you're going to get prep materials like social media graphics, talking points, hashtags, sample outreach emails, also the day of last minute updates and action steps that you might want to take. So just make sure you guys are checking your email, be prepared to check that often, especially the day before and the day of the event. You're going to be getting a lot of the questions from your attendees. You might be hearing stuff from, the No Kings organizers. So we just want to make sure that you all have what you need. Also, you're going to be prepared to share important information about your event with your attendees. They are going to have a lot of questions. They're going to want to know what to expect. They're going to just be rattling you with things. So we do have materials prepared for that. The other thing that, I want to encourage all of our hosts to do, and also make sure your volunteers are doing it, but save and download anything you need on site because Wi-Fi may be spotty. Can we jump to the next slide? So here's my fun stuff. I love talking about event promotion. I love digital. I love how easy it gets. And that's the big thing here. We've made it so much easier for you all this time around. We are, making sure that we have prepared sample emails that you can use to send out to your attendees to promote your event. also to your listservs, things like that. We are also making sure that you have materials to communicate with your registered attendees as soon as they register so they know what to expect. We are building sample social media posts for you all to use. Also, and Kate will get into this a little bit later, but we also have sample media and press releases for you all just to make it a little bit easy. It's a template you can drop in specific information about your city, about your event, about who's speaking. So we're really excited about that. So let's just name it, right? When you're promoting your, if you can go back to the last slide. So let's just name it. Like when you are promoting your event, let's just say it. If you build it, they will come, but only if you're telling them about it. So that's why we want everyone screaming about No Kings in your events from the rooftops, all over social. Text your friends about it. Encourage people that are signing up to text their friends about it, invite their family, all of these things. It's so vital that you all are promoting this event in your communities, in your cities, with your networks. This is how our movement grows, and this is how our movement continues to stay strong. Next slide, please. Okay, let's talk about communicating with your attendees a little bit. So I know many of you have signed up. You're on the Mobilize platform where, thank goodness, you can actually send automated emails out to your attendees to keep them updated. So the big things that we want to make sure you all are doing is having open communication with your attendees. So email, social posts, if it warrants it, a quick call, all of these things can make a difference. You want to keep your attendees informed about meetup locations, time changes, special requests, like if you all want to wear the same color, if you all have very specific signs that you want people to have. Communicating with attendees is also a really great way to find volunteers and to help out in advance of your event, or even on the day of, or after. And the other thing, communicating with your attendees, it creates a sense of security and trust. So this is a way to ensure that everyone at your event feels safe and secure. Next slide, please. Okay, I know everyone is like, I'm not a social media creator. I'm not an influencer. We're all influencers in this moment, right? That is what we are. This is our story. We're going to tell it. We're going to use social media to promote No Kings events ahead of time. We're going to encourage people to share these events and to get their friends to come out. We are also asking you all to share official posts and tags from, our national partners using our No Kings hashtags, which we'll get into in a minute. And also, the other thing is people want to connect with you. So tell them why you're doing it. Why are you going to No Kings? Why does this really matter to you? What is so important that you are going to give up a Saturday to stand out in protest against this president and make it clear that there are no kings in America? Tell people this. This is what they want to hear. Next slide, please. Okay. So as event hosts, you guys are carrying so much. So just be on the lookout for social media volunteers. You don't have to do this all by yourself. You can recruit your No Kings event attendees to capture and post content on social. They don't need any fancy gear, just their phones, our hashtags, and maybe 2 or 3 talking points. Super easy. And folks are already going to be on the phones anyway. Might as well get them to help join the conversation, right? Next slide. Okay. The official No Kings hashtag is hashtag No Kings and then your city. No parentheses or brackets needed, just your city. No Kings, your city. So the secondary hashtag that we definitely want people to use just in case they are forgetting to put the city on there is hashtag No Kings. So I think that we can do a little experiment here in the chat and get folks to drop their specific hashtag for No Kings for their city. So again, hashtag No Kings and then your city. Let's see it. Yes, I love it. Blow it up. I see y'all. Okay, No Kings Boston, No Kings Toronto. It's going too fast. I can't read it all. Okay, No Kings Dallas, No Kings Chicago. Yes, all day. I love this. All right. Key phrases that you guys want to make sure are in your social media posts. Not every post, like not every phrase needs to be in every post, but like let's make sure we're getting the conversation and keeping it where we want it, right? So no thrones, no crowns, no kings, right? The next one, in America, we don't have wannabe dictators or kings. I love that one because like he is a wannabe dictator. And then finally, this is dictatorship in action. We don't accept it. America has no kings. So by using the hashtags in these phrases, it's going to make your post easy for our larger No Kings group to find and to amplify so that we're lifting up everything that's happening. Because again, this is our story, this is our movement. We're going to tell it the way that it needs to be told. Next slide, please. All right. This is fun. Okay, capturing great content and what to avoid. So, okay, next slide. We're going to just dive in here. So, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. But like, let's be honest, when it comes to what we want to capture on the ground, it's about people, right? We want people holding signs. We want videos of folks chanting. Anything that captures the joyful, non-violent resistance of our movement, we want it all. We want event speakers, performances, and other key moments that are happening at your events in your cities. We want behind the scenes prep or group selfies and candid interactions that really show the energy and the joy in your community. And also like we're letting the world know America has no kings, right? So let's get it out there. Next slide. All right. So, the scariest stuff. What should we avoid? All right. Let's just be real. We want to keep it positive. We want to keep it people powered, and we want it to be real. Faces of people without their consent, especially children, let's try to stay away from that because not everyone wants their face out there. Any signs or chants that don't really align with the overall No Kings message, we also want to stay away from that. And then photos that feel unsafe, chaotic, or negative, if we can keep those off social, I know it's going to be a little hard to maintain everyone, but like we want to try to stay away from those. And then most importantly, private conversations or off limit areas, let's keep them private. Okay. So let's see. I think, yep. All right. Last thing before I jump away from y'all, I think that we are gonna give you all just another little test here. If folks can create their own little social media post using our key phrases, and using their special hashtag, that would be awesome. We will check them out here in the comments. And I am going to kick it over to Kate to take folks through local media training. Thanks, everyone.
I'm gonna grab it real quick. Sorry, Kate. There are so many questions in the Q&A, and I just want to do a quick scan of a few of the most frequently asked questions. Um, a lot of folks have asked about different issues as it comes to messaging. We are obviously all here across a number of issues that are driving us to speak out in this moment. Authoritarian power grabs, they are affecting everyone, no matter why you're coming here. And I think what's important to name is that no matter the issue that brings you here today, we're all here because we have a common purpose. We don't have no kings. We have no kings in this country. We reject the authoritarian power grabs of this administration. We reject the attacks to abducting our neighbors. We reject the attacks of not addressing the overreach and the unanswered policy on gun violence. We reject the attacks on LGBTQ people. We reject the attacks on people trying to receive reproductive health care. We reject the attacks on our children in schools not getting a better education, on and on and on and on and on. So I know that there's a lot of questions around messaging specific to issues, but I think at its core, we are all here under one purpose, under one mission, that we are rejecting the authoritarian power grabs of the Trump administration. Another question that I've seen uh, is, will you be sharing the resources? Yes, we will be sending an email after this Zoom call with all of the resources that we are talking about and messaging and talking points. Another question we are seeing is, do you have information in Spanish? 1000%. We have information in English and Spanish for folks that are thinking, that are hoping to receive that. There is, I'm just scrolling through real quick, guys. Give me a minute. Um, a very frequent question we have received, and we got this a number of times: how can we stay in touch with people who don't feel safe providing their contact information online? I think that some of this will be one-to-one communication. If someone does not feel safe putting their information online, RSVPing to an event, we understand. Our information is safe, and we take security and safety. There's another training around security and safety, and you can join. We take that utmost importance. There is a very, very strong priority on everyone's safety. And if people don't feel safe providing their contact information, try to connect with them another way. That is what I can say to that. I think that is definitely a concern that we recognize and acknowledge. And we hope that folks continue to feel safe in terms of joining the events and also registering online. Um, I'm loving. There's a lot of question submissions with the hashtag No King City, Jan. Just so you know, um, someone said yes to democracy, yes to people power, absolutely. Another person saying we're trying to do a unified no kings in Colombia. What would our hashtag be? Get with your partners. If you are considering what you want to do in your state, in your community, I would say find the people in your state that are like-minded. Find folks where you are. Come together, create a coalition of people. Folks are looking for each other. Use these networks to do that. Use these hashtags to do that. Use digital and social media now to post and find folks who are like-minded to you in your communities, in your regions, in your state, so you all can build the best October 18th you've ever heard of. Um, One more question, then I'm going to turn it over to Kate, and then we'll do more Q&A later. Someone asked around de-escalation, around a heated situation. There is a separate training on de-escalation. There is another training on know your rights. I encourage everyone to visit nokings.org and look at the trainings we provide. There are other folks who are walking through those trainings, and really want to encourage folks to sign up for those trainings. A lot of really good information on that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kate to talk about how we are going to engage media in this moment.
Thank you so much, Unique. And I'm actually going to get into some of the things that were brought up in the Q&A right here, as well as some of the things that Unique just answered for us. And part of that I want to bring up front and center, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to find your local media. And some of these ways that I'm suggesting are actually part of how you can find your local community. One of those that I'm going to suggest to you all is look at local listservs. Where do you find your information about a local event or rally or something happening in your state? A lot of times they're on a Facebook listserv or a Google group or a newsletter. Get into the habit of responding in those places, asking questions and finding community that way too, and then building it, online and offline is so important in these moments. But let's dive into the big stuff that I'm here to talk with you all about. I am here, and I'm Kate. I'm with the No Kings Coalition, and I am here to help you understand how you can make sure that you're front and center. This is a quick session because I want to make sure that I'm giving you a really understandable, easily digestible how-to guide to be successful in getting local media coverage. You have a vast No Kings Day media team that includes myself, Jan, Unique, and many others who are helping to ensure that your voices, your power, and your purpose are uplifted in national and international news. But we can't do this alone. You have the eyes and ears of your community more than we ever will by getting into your local media. So, in this how-to guide that I'm giving you today, I'm going to go over what you can do before, during, and after the No Kings event to make it as successful as possible that your message, your voice is what's front and center. So when you walk witness training, I want you to know how to find and prepare your local reporters to make sure that they know how to cover your local No Kings Day. And I want to make sure that you know how to make sure that the message you want to send is front and center, that it's your headline, your photos, and your quotes that you see in the paper or on TV afterwards. I also want to note, like, I'm talking right here now about local newspapers, TV, radio, But remember what Jan just went over with us. Social media and digital content are huge in this moment, and doing that work is going to really help you with the local media. If you have questions, if this is a lot of information, and you're like, wait, what did Jan say to me earlier, other than hashtag no kings and then your city? Don't worry, we're going to send it all back to you after this training is over. You're going to get all of this information sent to you, and there's links being provided in the chat so you can get a head start. So let's get going. Let's talk about before No King's Day. Y'all, this is my checklist for you. 4 things. The first thing I want you to do is build a media list. You're going to identify your local outlets, the reporters, email and phone numbers so that you can be in contact with them. You can be as brief or in depth as you want with this or what your capacity provides. I know we've got a lot going on. Maybe you can get a volunteer to help you with this. Think again, like I said in the beginning, about all the ways you and your people know that you get your news in your local communities, your city or county newspapers, or TV or radio stations. You can also think about those neighborhood listservs that you have. Then you also want to get into using Google, social media, and media outlets pages, like their contact pages or newsrooms, to figure out how to contact them. Make sure you're noting email addresses. And like I said before, you can even note phone numbers if you want to make a quick call. But those email addresses are going to be really critical because we're going to help you make sure that you know how to reach out to them and let them know about this event before and follow up with them after. So, for newspapers, TV, and radio stations, you'll find that a lot of times, too, this is a special note, you can go in and look at their politics or community reporters and assignment editors when you're doing those searches or looking on their websites. You can find a general email, and that's okay. But if you find those politics reporters or assignment editors, their email addresses are going to get you that much closer to the person who's going to come cover your event or cover it after. So again, that's step 1. Identify your local outlets, get those email addresses, and if you're feeling ambitious, get those phone numbers as well. Step 2, y'all, is assign roles. I have 3 roles for you to consider. And remember, you don't have to do this alone as a host. You have a community that's going to come out with you, so let them get to work with you too. First off, I want you to think about a social media content creator, someone who can capture photos and videos and get them posted online for you. Not only is this going to help you do what Jan just talked about in developing that digital content before, during, and after, but it's also going to give you tangible things with links that you can send to reporters afterwards to make sure that your photos and videos, your content, and your message is front and center for them. They love to repost, reshare, and utilize the content we put on social media. Second, if you have the capacity, think about having a media manager. There's someone who can help you look into the local outlets ahead of time, make those calls to your press, but on the day of, they're also someone who can go around and identify, can even collect the information. Remember, y'all, we are going to have an opportunity to give you all this information again. So don't worry too much about the definitions of the roles. I'm just trying to walk you through them real quick. So the last one is your person who likes to be on stage in the theater, or your person who's really comfortable when they get a camera put in front of their face, or really the person who's front and center to this movement, and you can't look away when they have something to say about why they're here. And that's who you want to think about as your spokesperson, someone who can deliver your message and help show how powerful your No King's Day is. And I'm going to give you some tips about helping your spokesperson practice ahead of time, because we're going to take some time also beforehand to prep our speakers. I'm going to get into that a little bit more later and what you can look for. So for now, let's talk about our media advisories. There's 2 things that we talk about in the press world. The first one is what we do before an event, and that is a media advisory, letting them know about something that's coming up. It's simple. It's an email that advises the media, aka letting them know that the event is coming up. We're going to talk through how you can write it. We're going to give you some samples. But this is something that you want to send out about 3 days before your event or 2 days before your event. This is letting them know that it's happening. I've seen a lot of questions in the chat about when you should start letting media know about your event. You can absolutely send them a quick email ahead of those 2 to 3 days. You could send it next week, anytime you want, to let them know, hey, I'm going to be sending out a media advisory because we have our local No Kings Day event coming up. You don't need to send them a ton of information, but as long as they know that your event is coming up and they have contact information for you if they have more questions, they can get to you. Otherwise, really focus on this media advisory 48 to 72 hours ahead of time. And then if you have capacity, shoot them a reminder that morning. But 24 or 48 to 72 hours gives them the time they need to ensure that they are getting a reporter out to cover your event or prepping to put it in their newspaper right after. So, okay, y'all, let's get into this. What does a media advisory include? And again, a media advisory is what we're sending out at the beginning before our event happens. It's that 72 to 48 hour window. We're sending basically 3 sentences. It should be short, it should be to the point, and all you need to really think through ahead of time is who's going to be your media point of contact. If they want to call you and ask you about more questions, hey, what's it going to look like? Can someone interview ahead of time, et cetera, et cetera? Give them someone that they can chat with either over email or over the phone. So here's the pieces. Headline, what it's going to say. You can literally copy and paste that. And just like the hashtag, you're going to put your town or city in. The what? Are you having a rally? Are you having a march? Use the language that's in here. You can make it short and sweet. You're going to give them the when, the day, Saturday, the date, October 18th, and then the time of your event. You're going to give them the who. If you are doing this work in coalition, that's the time to talk about them. If you know you're going to have some incredible speakers coming out that are forces in your community, list them all out here. Here are my hosts. Here are my speakers. Also, y'all, make sure you have consent from everyone you're putting on because some people might be down to show up and support, but not want to be out there in the media. But if they do, this is a great way to show the power of what you're doing. You want to share the where, what's your location? If you're doing a march, tell them the start and the end point, tell them where the speakers are going to be. And then lastly, tell them again who's the contact for the event. If it's different on the day of to when it's going on, then or to when you're building up to it, then make sure you add that. Okay, so if you're asking, oh my gosh, what does this look like when you put it together? Well, here you are. This is what it looks like. But remember, y'all, I am going to send you, we as a team are going to send you this. We're going to send you samples of what your media advisory can look like. So you can just play the copy paste game and add your information in. This is your media advisory. Again, remember, short to the point, about 3 sentences. On Saturday, October 18th, at the time of your event, the people of your town are going to march to remind extremists that America has no kings and the power belongs to us, the people. Then you're going to tell them when it's starting, where your march ends, who's going with you, who's hosting this, and how they can get in touch with you later. Sometimes you'll even see them put in the news, in like a newspaper or online, a little advisory telling the community that your event is coming up. This is a great thing. It's also a couple of sentences without necessarily needing to add your contact information that you could put on a Facebook listserv or into a Google group. You know, there's lots of ways you can engage both your community and the media using this advisory. And again, we're going to send it right out to you. You're going to have this. So, we're sending out our media advisory. We're prepping our team. We know what we're going to be doing ahead of time. So let's talk about during the event. I have only 3 things for you to think about for media. 1, confirm your roles. You're probably doing that already for safety and security, making sure you have water at your event, et cetera, et cetera. Add in your social media person. Did they show up? Is their battery charged? Do they need to borrow someone's phone? They're good, they're set, they're ready. Is your media person there, if you're going to have one, ready to intercept any of the media and show them to some of your amazing spokespeople you want to make sure aren't missed? And do you have your spokespeople? Are they ready? Are they feeling ready and jazzed and supported that day and prepared? Second, follow January's great guides. Follow what Jan had to say. Post, 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 and use your hashtag. Use that hashtag, y'all. This is easy. Your social media person will be doing it. You'll be doing it. If this was the only thing you did during your No King's Day event, we'd be happy. This is great. Post, post, post. Get it up there. Give yourself things that you can look back on later. Really, that's the only checkbox we should have here. But these other two are bonuses. Confirm roles and then offer reporters that you find time to meet with your spokespeople. Usually, reporters are running around trying to figure out who they should talk to. Going up to them and asking them if they'd like to talk to you is awesome. Or if you know someone they should talk to, it's awesome. They will usually say yes, and they'll be so thankful. Having been to many, many rallies and coordinated interviews, often, it really does. They're people just like us. Sometimes they feel a little awkward going up to folks. So helping them find people to go up to is genuinely a gift that you're giving them. Okay, that's literally it for that day. But let's go back to what we were talking about before for your spokespeople. How do you make sure, and how do your spokespeople make sure that your message is front and center in this work? And the way that we do that is by talking to our interviewers, our spokespeople, about how they can ensure that they are sharing the straightforward message we talked about. No crowns, no kings, no dictators, right? We know what we want to be saying for No King's Day. And the way that we know better and better, and honestly better than I just did, is practice makes prepared. I need to go practice our talking points. And if I do, I'm going to guess that you and your spokespeople could come along with me and do some of that work. Practice makes you prepared. There's no perfect in this world. We want to show up as human when we're in front of a camera or when we're talking to a reporter. That's how our heart and soul comes out. But we also want to make sure that we're saying things in a way that leads people in and makes them lean into what we're doing. So make sure you're practiced so you can be as natural as possible and share the right story, share the right language, and the sentiments that we're trying to do. Second, take your time. Y'all, I have been in this work for about 15 years, and I can't tell you the amount of times that I or a friend that I prepared to speak to the media is so jazzed, but ends up talking, 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 talking. And you know why? They're not even usually people who talk a lot. It's because the reporter is doing a trick that is as old as time in their profession. They'll ask you a question, you'll provide them with the perfect, succinct, powerful story, and then it'll go silent. And they'll wait to see if they can catch you saying something extra. And you know what, y'all? Every time it's that extra bit where you weren't prepared for, that's not quite what you wanted to say, that's what they'll end up quoting. So make sure that you remember that you're in charge. Take your time, take that deep breath ahead of it, and let that silence live. They'll move on to the next question once they realize that you are set and ready to go and you're waiting for the next thing they have to say. You're in charge. Just because they're asking the questions doesn't mean that you're not the one with the power in that moment. The next thing, say your most important thing first. Say your message. Talk about why No King's Day. Think through those talking points that you have and what resonates most with you. Say it first and then say it again and again in your words, in your way. It could be one sentence that you think about so that no matter the question they ask when they start, if they want to be like, oh, I want to know about is this this kind of protest? What are those two people doing over there? What do their signs mean? Thank you so much for being here. I'm Kate. I'm a representative of this No King's Day, and I just want to say that we are all out here because we know that America has no crowns, no kings, and no room for dictators. That's why we're here today. I really appreciate your time. And then let them ask the next questions. Answer the question they wished you asked, which was, why are you here today? Why is everyone here? No matter what question they ask, because at the end of the day, the questions they ask you aren't what ends up on TV or in the news. It's what you say to them. So answer the questions that you wish they asked and start with your message, the thing you want them to walk away with. If they quoted you on one thing, say it first. Lastly, short and sweet is great. Remember, y'all, they only will talk to you and quote for like one little snippet. I remember I did an hour-long interview with someone once, an hour. And do you know how much time I got in their article? I got 3 words. 3 words. And really, that's how it goes. You'll talk for 3 minutes, you'll get 30 like milliseconds or whatever, right? They'll quote you on one sentence in their clip, in their news press, and it's not because they don't like you, it's because that's the amount of time that people take to understand things. We're all on our phones these days. They've got to keep it snappy right with you. So remember, short and sweet is what gets you into the place where you know that what your message is going to be when they walk away. And being prepared too really helps you be the person that they want to come back to, that they want to quote, that they hear from, because they're totally going to quote other people at your movement, right? And you want them to get the general vibes of the community and why everyone's there. And you want to make sure they're hearing from the people who put this together, the people who know their community best. And that's going to be you all. So keep it short, keep it sweet, be prepared, and put your message and the message you want permeating into your community up front and center. All right, let's move on to the next thing. That was a lot on interviews, y'all. I have one more thing for you, and that is, well, then I have to talk about after. Sorry. I'm getting too excited. I love talking about interviews. So let's talk about the one last thing on interviews, which is that there are tricky questions out there. People have a lot of questions. There's a lot of misinformation going around about No King's Days. You might get caught off guard, or your spokesperson might get caught off guard by some tricky questions. I want you to always remember that you can always refer media to nokings.org if they ask a question that you're not sure about. If they ask a question that you're not sure you're ready or prepared to answer, you can always say, I'm not sure. But you know what? I know what our core concern is, and that's that we're not going to allow our tax dollars to be used for his power grabs. If they ask you a question and you're like, oh, that isn't really one that I want to be quoted about, you can say, look, you know what? The bottom line is that we've gone too far. We need to do the work, and we're out here today to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Obviously, all this is not what you're going to do if you're having a conversation with your neighbor. But even in a conversation with your neighbor, you know that if the topic starts to go awry, you want to bring them back to the heart of why we're doing this. And it's the same way with the audience the reporter's giving to you. Don't let them get pulled away by these tricky questions or false claims. Bring them home. Bring them back to our movement and back to our power. And that is that we are united against kings, that we will not allow this to happen in our country, and we are here for it. So we've done all this incredible work. We're making it happen. Now we have 4 final things to do after this, right, y'all? Once we have had our event, we are collecting our most powerful social media content, photos, or videos. They've already got links, so we can just get them together. We're going to draft our post-event press release. That's when press releases happen, is after an event. Then we're going to send that press release within minutes or an hour. Sometimes we got to do our wrap up first, out to all of those media contacts that you sent your media advisory to. Let them know how your event went. And I'm going to go over that in a second. And also, when you send your press release, don't forget to send it to us too. We want to know what happened. We want to know how to uplift the work you're doing with the media we're talking to and on our own channels. So make sure you also send it to events@nokings.org. Just include us in with all of those media folks that you send it to. So, one tip I have for you is you can always draft kind of like a general post-event press release before your event. We have samples for you. You can just use them. You can get that ready so that you know, and you can just easily be adding in a little bit of information, adding in the feeling, the like excitement and power from your event, and sending it off with that extra special touch of the true moment right after your No Kings event. Okay, so what should be in that press release that we're talking about? What goes out to make sure that if press were there or they weren't there, that they're getting the right message, they're getting the right quotes. We want another headline, right? No King's Day rally or march draws. And you want to think about it. If you had 50 people, if you had 50,000 people at your event, tell them what that turnout was. right up front so they know that people in your community came out with you, where they came out. The next thing you're going to do is just give them a quick 1 to 2 sentence overview. This is a little bit more where the story is, where the advisory was facts. You get to do a little bit of storytelling here. The name of your town, comma the date, that's just the fancy way that they do it in media for a press release, a little dash, and then you're saying 2 sentences. Include key messages in this. America has no kings and the power belongs to the people. That is why 100 people came out today. That's why 100,000 people came out today in our community to be with all of us. Give them a quote. Talk to your hosts. Talk to them beforehand or during, or look at some of your content in the past. Give them a quote from someone that they can quote in it. And remember, you have talking points to help you guys think about what you want the quote is to be from your host or from your speaker as you move forward, in case they're just going to use the one you give them instead of getting interviews on that day. And then again, they might want to follow up with you. Give them that contact info. The last thing you want to make sure that you do include in this, and it's just in those little brackets after the quote, add links. Add links to your social media posts that you like, to the social media photos you have, to the social media videos. If you are someone or your team loves a good like Google Drive or folder, you can link a folder for them to use those photos. You want to make sure that you're giving them some photos and content to use, right? Putting your stuff, your voice, your best pieces right front and center. And we're going to send you some of those press release pieces and examples right after this call. Remember, we're going to give you that media advisory. We're going to help you with your interview prep with more talking points. We are going to give you the press release stuff. You're going to be set and ready to go. Thank you for taking time prepping with me today, and Jan and Unic. And I'm going to hand it back to Unic to move us forward. What are we doing after we've sent all this out to keep the momentum going?
Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. I want to go to the be on the lookout slide next, just to move forward a little bit. But what I want to first say is there's been a lot of questions around chants and signs. I want to take a moment just in the chat, put your favorite chant, your favorite sign slogan you've seen, whether it was yours or something you saw on Jimmy Kimmel or something you saw on social media, like the best signage or the best chant you ever saw. I think, to the questions, folks around chants and signs, the best thing you're going to see is what's built in community. There is nothing that can be produced or bought that's going to be better than what you're going to produce in your communities with your neighbors, with your friends. So I definitely want to see that in the chat. Use the time now. The other thing I wanted to make sure I uplifted, if you remember nothing else from this training, the absolutely best message you can have on October 18th is your personal story. The reason why you showed up on October 18th is the best thing you can be saying on No King's Day. And after this and after the momentum after October 18th, there's going to be a lot of materials on what we can be doing coming out of No King's Day and a lot of things we're going to be talking about. But in this moment right now, be on the lookout for those sample media advisories, the press releases, the attendee emails, and the social media posts. Everything's customizable, however you want to use it. Want to make sure you all have it. I do want to take time. I've been putting in the chat to ask your questions, and I wrote down a few of the most frequently asked questions I've been seeing in the chat just in the time we have remaining. Someone did ask about how do I become a speaker? How do I be a speaker? Get connected to your local host. Build community with folks you know around you. Talk about what's needed at your event, which really goes into folks were asking also, what makes a good event? What makes a good event is you. However you want your event to look, that is how your event's going to be the best event it can be. There is not a cookie cutter form to what makes these events great. The people coming together is what makes these events great. Another question around sidewalk chalking. I think that's great. Get some of that sidewalk chalk, do an art installation with your friends, write those best chants and those best slogans for signs on your community sidewalks, I think is a wonderful idea. Someone asked again about information in Spanish. I promise you we have it. We will make sure you receive it after this call. In addition to all of the materials we've discussed today, you will receive after this call. Another person brought up, how do I deal with counter protesters? How do I communicate with them? There will be trainings around de-escalation and know your rights. I want to make sure folks know there are additional trainings listed on the nokings.org website to address those concerns, valid and rational concerns. So definitely look those up. Um, and then lastly, I want to make sure folks know, everyone's coming here in a volunteer capacity. Everyone's coming here because they want to make their communities better. People who are participating on October 18th are coming together because they know that this country has no kings. They know they want to join their neighbors and their friends and their families and folks they don't even know yet to say that collectively together. I want to make sure folks also know that as you go out into this day and as you go out in the coming weeks leading into this day, that everything you're doing is impactful. Every way you're communicating is impactful. So just know that the stories you are carrying collectively, the voices you are carrying collectively, that is what matters in this moment. And I thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this movement and being a part of this day, because without you, no King's Day wouldn't happen. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us this evening. I know it was a lot of information to take in, and a number of folks on this call are going to make sure you have everything you need to take it forward. And there will be another one of these trainings in a couple of weeks if you need a refresher. So definitely stay tuned on nokings.org. Thank you all so much.